So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present in the semi-final. With that, let me start my presentation. My use case is mainly around one topic, how to do research using AI, and also helping practicing chartered accountants in drafting an appropriate advice for the client, which is thoroughly researched. So the use case is around research and helping chartered accountants draft appropriate advice for their client using AI. With that, I'm going to share my screen. Uh, Please just confirm once you're able to see my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the presentation is visible. Perfect. So as I told you, what I am going to talk about in next 7 to 8 minutes is about the use case of AI in research and drafting advice. My focus is on one of the topic of international taxation, which is Pillar 2, which I am doing a lot of research on this topic. But the use case which I'm explaining can be adopted by participants in their day-to-day life if they are practicing GST, if they are practicing accounting principles, following financial accounting principles, or even for doing research in FEMA or any other topic of their practice. So what is important is the underlying concept of how AI can be used for research. I'm going to demo you using what I am doing in this area, which is relating to international tax and Pillar 2. Why did I started this? Uh, I was facing few challenges. When I talk about Pillar 2, there are a lot of rules. There are OECD model rule, there's OECD commentary, then there is administrative guidelines, then there are certain domestic minimum tax rules which each country would adopt. All this culminated into thousands of pages of document by OECD. More than 138 countries have adopted Pillar 2 or have agreed to adopt Pillar 2, which means gradually there will be 138 different rules relating to Pillar 2 by 138 different countries. All this has resulted into a lot of intertwining rules between Pillar 2, domestic rules, financial accounting principles are also very integral part of Pillar 2, and then you also have transfer pricing in Pillar 1. It's like a concoction of all these things taken together. So to do a research, you need to ensure that you're not missing out any point or any section or any article when you write an advice to your client, or when you're doing your research for writing a paper, or when you're doing a research for doing client advice related work. To ensure that this tool can be very useful, which I have developed using custom GPT. It does two things. One, you can do a very quick and accurate research, and with the power of AI and with your own data. That's very important. When I'll give you a demo, I'll talk about it in a more detail. Using your own data, you can do the research very quickly and accurately. And second thing is, it not only helps you do the research and find out what the relevant text is or what the relevant section or article is, but it also helps you draft an advice for your client query, and that is a game changer. So these are the two important use cases from the bot that I have created using custom GPT. With that, let me now go to the demo of the solution. Before that, a very brief about this technology, which is, I'm going to switch my screen. Just can you confirm, is my screen visible? There will be custom GPT screen, a web
Yeah,
page.
visible. Go
All
ahead.
right. Thank you so much. Now, coming to this point on custom GPT, it is a RAG solution. Now, what is RAG? Is a retrieval augmented generation, where it combines your own data warehouse or a knowledge warehouse that you would create. It's an external data warehouse, which you would create your own warehouse of this data. And then it links with the large language model. And it could be, in my case, it is GPT Turbo 4 that I have linked with. So with the capability of GPT and my own data, I'm able to ensure that whatever research I'm undertaking and whatever advice I'm drafting using the AI are factually correct, contextually correct, and also this helps to improve the reliability of using an AI for your practice related work, because it's your own data, it's an authoritative information. So it's not a generic data pulled from web and then you get the response and you use it. which could be very risky sometimes because AI do hallucinate. And a lot of situations have come across where it just makes up the answer, even if when it doesn't know. But when you create a RAG-based solution which is trained on your own data, it wouldn't hallucinate. If it doesn't know the answer, it will simply not give an answer for that. So that's the important and beauty of this solution. You can train the model using your own data. With that, let me show you two examples. The first example is of, I've already drafted the question for the sake of uh, considering the paucity of time. I have already drafted some questions. So question one is relating to research. I want to do some research relating to stock-based compensation and how that stock-based compensation is treated under OECD Pillar 2. I want everything that is written on stock-based compensation with a proper reference from AI. With this question, the AI would then start drafting the response with the proper references and page number and article number reference. So here you could see that it has now started writing that you have an election option in the stock base. It is covered by Article 3.2.2. It is at page number 87, sorry, para number 87, page number 61. This is the point from where this paragraph or this response is drafted. Similarly, para 91, page 61, treatment of expired option is started, and so on and so forth. So you have your own authoritative data to actually work on. It is not a generic data coming from the website. I'll show you the backend of how the data warehouse is created. Using that data, my bot is giving a response and it is giving me all the references. That's not the only thing. What you can also do is you can then go to where did you get the response and click on this file. You will get the original source file as well, which is somewhere residing in your own warehouse. It will be picked from there so that you can do now more detailed research that this is the relevant document. And I know the relevant page number and para number, which is already mentioned over here. Like take an example of para number 87, page number 61. So I know I need to go to page number 61. Sorry, just 1 second. Page number 61. And it would have, so it's coming from para number 87, article 3.2.2. And this is the response which AI has provided to me. Now that's the ease of doing faster research. You now don't need to go through all these thousands of pages, which you would see. This is a very huge file, 228 pages. And there's just one file. There are such 8 to 10 files that OECD has come. And as I told you, 138 countries have implemented Pillar 2 or have agreed to implement Pillar 2. So you can imagine another 138 countries regulation, which runs into thousands of pages. Impossible humanly to do an accurate research and quickly. So using an AI can help you do that much faster. So that's one use case where you get the responses with the page, para number, and reference. Thank you, ma'am. And not only that, but you can also get an advice from the AI. And let me show you the second question which I have created. Here I'm asking a question which is, I'm giving a context that this is the situation of my client, that its consolidated revenue is 600 million. And as per OECD Pillar 2, Pillar 2 is applicable only when the threshold of 750 million euros is crossed. But here my client has prepared consolidated account only for 9 months. Then how should I determine whether Pillar 2 is applicable or not? So this is not any research question that I'm asking. This is actual fact of my client, and I'm putting that as a question to the AI. With this, now the AI will understand the context. It will go back to the data which is there in my data warehouse that I've created, and then it started drafting the responses. It's saying that you need to extrapolate it, and when you extrapolate it, it is crossing 750 million, and therefore it should be covered by the Pillar 2. Now, how can you create it? Quickly going by over there, you can simply create, there is this tool called as custom GPT .ai, and you can create your own data warehouse. By going over here, you have this data warehouse where you can load all your data. And that data, in my case, is all Pillar 2 related data points, but that could be your customs, your FEMA, or any other topic of your area of practice, accounting standards. And then you start training the model. Don't expect the bot to give the expected response immediately, but as you train it, it will understand what level of granularity you want and what kind of responses are you expecting. You can correct the bot as well if it is going wrong. Second important thing is you can create its own persona. And this is what is very game changer, where you can actually make the bot work like a tax professional. So here I have created a persona of an international tax
Time's up, sir.
professional. Okay, thank you. So that was a quick presentation of how you can use AI for research. Thank you.
Sunny, a nice presentation, and again, I
Thank you,
think
sir.
beautiful use of AI, and especially creating your own database. I think that would go a long way in removing the inherent defect of generic information being used by the GPT model. But one question, I think one
Sure.
challenge you must be facing, I just want to know how you address that. The laws of various countries, or the 148 odd countries which you mentioned, they
Yeah.
keep on changing frequently. How do you ensure
Exactly.
that your database is always up to date, and the answer, because the answer will come from the database which you've provided.
Exactly.
If there is an
Yeah.
intermittent change, how do you ensure
Yeah.
that that change has been incorporated and you're not giving the answer based on some past law?
Old. Yeah. So your point is very valid, sir, and this requires one to keep a tap on the developments that are happening globally. And being in this profession and doing this day in, day out, typically we come to know with various sources that are available. And also there are certain databases or subscription-based models where you can come to know which country has implemented, where there has been a development or a new legislation. And then typically I go to that country's legislation website. Like recently I updated HMRC UK Pillar 2 legislation in the solution, for which I relied on a HMRC's website for getting the data relating to Pillar 2. So yes, you need to have an update and understanding of what is the development in the regulation across the globe, which you need to keep a tap on.
Okay, so Mother, you also subscribe to the theory that chartered accountants would not become redundant because their expertise in trying to ensure that the correct data is in places will always be required.
Absolutely, sir. And not only that, but also to train the AI, you need to be a subject matter expert, because a lot of time it may not give you, it may go in a rabbit hole and keep giving you the wrong responses. You need to correct and train the model, and then over a period of time, it learns. So yes, it is not going to make us redundant. It is just going to be an enabler for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sunny, here, how you ensure to that you incorporate the feedback from user or stakeholders into this project? Continuous.
All right. So right now, this is meant for my own internal use. I'm not commercializing or not have even thought of commercializing it. It's more for my own research, more for my own advices, or doing a research for a client advice. It is not meant for a commercialization at this stage. But being in this profession, I vouch for what is right and what is wrong. So it's not 100% that I completely rely on what is coming out from the solution. It has to be verified from the real authentic source. And that's where the capability of a research is really very helpful, because you get the reference to the relevant source document and the page number and para number, so that you can then do your own deep dive and do more research on that topic on your own as well, and just not relying on the AI.
Can we do any score metrics to give the output file so that how you validate the accuracy and the reliability of the output given by the project?
Absolutely, that is possible. And this was one thing which I wanted to show after as a part of my presentation, is that this entire bot can be deployed. This is at a back end, what I showed you. It can be deployed in your own website. It could be deployed in your own web page. And you can build a matrix, whether like you can build something like, if it is a giving you a good answer, you give a thumbs up, and then it learns that, okay, this is what is expected, or you give a thumbs down, then it understands that it's not a right response. You can do a lot of things with that. Yeah, that was the last part which I wanted to show. So it is completely deployable in your web page or website, and then there's an API link for that. And then you can also build in certain additional add-ons, like to understand how good the responses are, and build that data, that how accurately it is functioning.
Great, Sunny. Great, nice presentation. Appreciate. Very innovative.
Thank you,
And
Mani.
the
Thank
product,
you, Mayur, sir.
the project you have worked.
One more
Very nice.
question.
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Sunny ji, just one more question. Could you
Yes, sir.
just give a brief idea to all the viewers here about the time taken to build such a solution and what is the cost implication?
Sure. So the subscription for this custom GPT costs around $99 a month, and it's a monthly subscription. You do have a lower version of the subscription as well, which costs $49 a month. So you have two plans, and then third is an enterprise solution, which is meant for a large companies to do something on the AI using their data, which I think may not be required at this stage. Particularly the mid-tier subscription is okay for practicing chartered accountant to use it for like $99 a month. So effectively, what we are talking is 1,200 roughly a year, an annual cost for this type of a tool. And the time that has taken is it is pretty quick. Now it all depends upon how accurate data you have originally, and that took me just final
Yeah.
word. It took me around 3 to 4 weeks to develop the
Okay.
first model.